So I'm going to talk about a story I haven't talked about before, and I only remembered the other day because I've had experience with this. And there's no video footage here, so it's just audio. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about race and how I've only really had bad experiences, but why I don't demonise them in return. So this sort of starts from a young age. I was actually not taught about racism. In fact, it was not taught so well that I actually used to say racist things to people and even made a not college project, making some sort of anti-racist thing basically to support black people. And I ended up making something that was just incredibly tone deaf, and I was a kid at the time, so I didn't know. Nobody taught me. Nobody even taught me racism, so it was all made up. Like, I literally can't blame this on anyone. If there was, I would. So I made this really awful homework project where I said we should kill black people. Yeah, that didn't go down well, not only with family, but also the people who did see it, I think. Obviously something I'm very shameful of, and back in primary school I think I only knew like one black kid back then. Um, and he was a decent enough guy, but I didn't see it that way because I was just a stupid kid. So yeah, that was one of my proudest moments. Uh, Eventually I learned what racism is, but didn't really fully grasp it either. So it's more like, well, I know black people, it's fine. But then in my secondary school, we had more exposure to obviously mixed race and black people. We even had a Muslim girl who, to be honest, I'm not sure if she was actually obviously forced into that or not, but she was wearing a burqa. Luckily, she wasn't bullied, I don't think, and she seemed alright. Actually, now that I think about it, no, I was just overthinking. I thought she might have appeared on Taskmaster with a very similar sort of personalities. It's weird. A strange coincidence. Anyway, but yeah, Muslim girl. I also I had a disabled friend who was a Jehovah's Witness and not from the UK, as was his family. But they were all decent people. Um, as far as adults, I didn't really know any from, to my knowledge. I knew like a Spanish guy as a teacher because we had an actual Spanish teacher. But that was it in terms of like race and stuff at that point. In college, I didn't actually see many other people. We had someone who was a Slovakian, I think. I'm pretty sure it was Slovakian. That was it really. So I never really knew anyone else, but yeah, eventually, as I got into adulthood, I ended up having to see more adults, and this is where the troubling experiences come from, and where I've noticed some problems myself. So the first thing is my first doctor, who saw me through childhood. Was she a midwife? I can't remember actually. She might have been actually. I can't remember, but she unfortunately got into an accident, and I didn't have the same doctor. She was a British person, obviously, and she did a decent job most of the time. But when I had my mental health breakdown, and like a few years after that, she obviously was in this accident. It got replaced with another doctor. At this point, I hadn't really gone out in public much. Like, at most, I'd see like the occasional person like speaking foreign, and we walked past them very loudly, which did sort of bother me because of sensory issues, not necessarily because of the language, except French. French is just fucking offensive. Just kidding. Um, yeah, it just sort of leads to problems here and there. Um, but anyway, the doctor's thing. I didn't even know I had another doctor because I didn't really go for fucking years. What's going on? So I don't know what that is. So obviously I had a new doctor as a result, or GP, not technically not doctors, but GPs. And this wasn't a good thing, because the guy had fairly alright English, but he definitely wasn't the nicest guy. Compared to the last doctor, who was a female as well, I forgot to mention. He just wasn't right, to put it simply. Didn't seem to understand that I had autism and needed time to sort of process things. So when I was going about my digestive issues, and eventually I had a anal fissure and hemorrhoids at the same time, unbelievably painful. Like, I imagine it's almost like a fraction of what giving birth is like. But maybe in periods, I don't know, probably both. But he wasn't very nice in that sense. I wasn't bullied or harassed, just to make that clear. But the way he portrayed himself and tried to get me to sort of obviously give samples and stuff, like, it just came across as hostile. And yeah, I don't know what sort of race he is, or origin, wherever he came from. I can't even mimic the accent. He definitely had a strange name as well. But I just didn't have a good experience, and like, I got fingered 3 times with a chaperone, obviously, because I want to be safe in that sense. But just to figure out what the fuck was in my arse, and it just wasn't a comfortable experience. It felt so forced as well. Like, it just didn't feel right to me. And I was told the same things over and over again, like I have hemorrhoids, and then suddenly I have a fissure, and then suddenly it's hemorrhoids again. And I also got told I had a skin tag there, which is like, what? How the fuck do you get a skin tag around your rectum? So, it's obviously medical mistreatment or maltreatment, I can't remember what it's called. It was just crazy. And this guy calls me a little pain and suffering, because it didn't end there. It also sort of devolved into me going online because I needed to get advice, and there's one of the few doctors that actually did do online consultations. And I was basically saying, like, every other week that I'm still having these issues and I need to have this treated. So eventually, other than like trying to get me on antidepressants because I was depressed at the time, I didn't want to do them anyway because they won't work. Tried them before, the old doctor, and it didn't work, but tried to solve the digestive issues. And what he prescribed to me was, oh fuck, I forgot the name. It's like, it's not fibrogel, I don't think. It's like a different type of fibrogel. It's like a more severe one. It's supposed to stop constipation. Now, if anyone knows anything about digestive issues, one of the things you do not want to do is give them something potentially dangerous for the digestion. And what he gave me was actually dangerous. I somehow didn't get hospitalised, but I suffered a lot because of it. I was bleeding like every day when I went to the toilet. I was feeling weak and dizzy. And for some reason it only barely helped. I was able to shit, which was a change, because I wasn't always able to, but at the same time it was like nothing was really changing, and I was also still going through a lot of pain because of the anal fissure and stuff. At that point I realised that this was useless, and then I also requested a pain relief, and I got prescribed some pain relief, and it wasn't the sort you'd think. It's one that was also dangerous to my digestive issues, which is like, I think it was ibuprofen. It was either ibuprofen or paracetamol. Some of them are actually dangerous to your digestion, in your stomach, because they can actually cause like severe bleeding. And for some reason I was prescribed that, of all things. Not an ointment, but that. Eventually we got onto ointments, so. And this came with more issues, and they even actually had suppositories, but they didn't help. They're meant to relieve pain. So what I'll do is after every bathroom use, I'll just apply it. I'd also have to go free-handed because they don't provide anything else with it, like no tube or anything. So I'll do that, and it didn't work. Now, NHS has a reputation for being terrible with prescription drugs, and this is no exception. This is probably some of the worst I've seen ever. And I've heard other people's stories about this too, I think. But they only said to apply it on affected area, which to me seemed like, oh, it's only on the outside, so I need to just apply it there. It turns out that wasn't where I needed to apply it, because only years later, after I'd left that doctor's and moved house, it turns out I wasn't applying it properly at all. I was applying it on the outside. And if anyone's ever had a fissure, let alone hemorrhoids, you know you need to put it inside. So all these years, it wasn't healing. It was because I didn't apply it properly. Who's to blame for that? Possibly the doctor, but possibly the pharmacist as well, or maybe both. Because they didn't give clear instructions. It's just... like, what the fuck? And guess what? It healed within a few weeks of doing that. So all these years I fucking suffered with this shit, and it was because they didn't give clear instructions. And possibly because of this doctor. Which is crazy. But this isn't like the end of the problems though. I guess I'll go on to like the other topic after this, but there's one more thing with medical related stuff, or two actually probably. I've not had good experiences with other doctors here as well. There's been mixed experiences. People have been completely ignorant of the issues I've had and even medical conditions. And they're foreign as well. I don't know why this is such a common thing. It seems weird. It's like suspicious going on there. But the other thing is, when I was going through a really depressive phase and trying to get advice for autistic burnout, I ended up getting referred to a mental health service, and this sort of reminded me of a problem I've had with calling people anyway to begin with, which is why I prefer text. But the service they referred me to had foreign speaking people. Not speaking, I mean accents, but me with autism and also processing disorder, learning delays for anyone wondering, it wasn't possible to actually talk to these people, unfortunately. Because I would have had the capacity to do it, but I couldn't. And basically, every word that foreign people have said over the phone is like, it sounds so different to how obviously an English person would say it, even if they are speaking complete English and trying to speak in a British accent. But the problem is I can't process that, and it's really nobody's fault in this case, but still, I don't feel listened to in any sense here, because again, these services are specifically designed to quote unquote help people, but they're not helping anyone, from what I know. And when I need help, for some reason it never goes to plan. So I just always feel depressed, and I just can't get any support. Which is again why I prefer texting, rather than phoning, calling people, using my voice. So it's always a struggle. And this also leads into I've also had previous experience actually. I remember calling like Papa John's, for example, because they got the pizza order wrong, and they've done it multiple times. I stopped going there because they had shit service, they had shit, it's like not necessarily shit pizzas, but they just didn't do them properly because I'm vegan. I noticed when there's dairy cheese on there, it's not only stringy, but it's also oily as fuck. You can literally see it. Vegan cheese doesn't melt like that. And yeah, the times I have called and stuff, they've literally had like foreign people. Like both, you can hear them in the background, but you can hear them in the calls as well. So there's a massive issue because it's really hard to get advice and customer support. I remember like having to repeat things multiple times to these people to even get my point across to get a new fucking pizza sent. And they're like only barely understanding English, which is fucking crazy. And this is why people keep fucking up the pizza as well. You need to have a basic understanding of the language and even dietary and allergen preferences, because this is dangerous. I've literally reported it to food safety in the UK here. I don't know if they've done anything, I hope they have. But it's just so ridiculous, and like, yeah, people like that shouldn't be working, for sure. It is insanely dangerous, and I've had similar things with like a good local restaurant I'm near at the moment. Like, they mess up the order. I have no problem with foreign people, it's just the fact that they fuck up these orders so consistently. It's like even an Asian place here that I can't eat at because they use fish sauce, and they say that they've got vegan vegetarian options. Like, what the hell? It's just nuts. That's all leads into like the final one, I'd like to say. And this one's more of like a technical issue. So I used to be with a phone network. I think I made a video on it. I used to be with O2, and I was with them since like childhood. They were okay back then, but then smartphones became a thing, and so did mobile data. So with that, I wanted to essentially upgrade and be able to get internet on my phone anywhere. Problem is, every single tower that they've ever had never gets fixed, so you never get internet, which is fucking stupid and can be dangerous. Because it literally can be a life or death situation. Like, internet isn't like a privilege anymore, it's literally basic survival. Because you need to look up things. You know, it's literally the difference between life and death or con, or like, what's the opposite of a con? Not luxury. I don't know what it is actually. Like, people get conned all the time and they need to know whether it's actually a con. Like, they need to know whether it's a scam. How are you supposed to do that without the internet? So, yeah. But anyway, I called them up and tried to change my plan initially to sort of get internet, and every single time, and also my account I can log into, but every single time it was answered by Indian people. So there was always a struggle of communication there. And I don't think I ever got a single English person in that. So that got me thinking, like, where the hell are the English speaking people here? Like, why is it always Indian people? It's not that I have a problem again, it's just that I can't understand the accent. I looked up, they're based in India. And that says a lot. That's why they can't come home and repair the fucking thing. The fucking towers, so you can get actual mobile data. So, yeah, there's like a massive problem there with just the influence of not necessarily just Indian people, but they're doing things outside the country, in our country. Like, what the fuck? So, yeah, I've just had frustrating experiences. And like, despite all that, despite how frustrating it's all been and how many bad experiences I've had with foreign people, there have been good ones, obviously. I definitely had like nice people sort of helping me with trying to move house. But there's also a massive problem here. Because my only problem is, again, understanding accents, and I definitely can't understand them the way that other people can. It's always been a struggle to me. I even don't understand some people's English accents. I've heard people with weird fucking accents similar to my own even. I can't even understand myself. So I guess the lengths to show the problem here. But it's like an accessibility issue. But it sort of leads to the bigger problem, and why I don't actually blame them for it. I blame billionaires. Simple as that. So with all the migrant issues that are happening in the UK right now, and everyone literally trying to get people on board to promote racism and for some reason domestic abuse, because that's actually a thing that's happening now. People are coming dangerously close to making this literally a billionaire's paradise. There's no words to describe it. And again, like as I said before, and as other people have said, the foreign people who work these jobs and don't necessarily understand English are the people who take on jobs we won't work. There's no surprise that I ended up with like the Papa John situation and even mental health workers who have a barely understandable accent and they've ended up working there because nobody else would. It's just like, it's a massive problem. But this only happens because people are not paid enough, and when you look at, like, think about the people on the phone, because again, this is like consistent people on the phone, not people you know in real life. But it's consistently to do with that, and why do you think that happens? It's because British people who have taken the job, and I actually know someone who did, they get verbally abused over the phone and simply are not paid enough to withstand it. So that's why foreign people get on it, because they're desperate for work as well. And obviously they're looking for money, but they're the only people who will take it. And because it's like, I don't know what the review sites are, because I'm unemployed, I should state that. There's probably review sites out there for works and how bad they treat their employees. Like, that has to be a thing now because you don't know who to trust. So if a call service suddenly has a job opening where you have to take phone calls constantly, and the reviews are saying, oh, you just get verbally abused a lot and your boss is like an arsehole, that's not going to look good for anyone. Jesus Christ, the tree outside is like more than fucking crazy. It's a bit worrying. Yeah, it's like insanely dangerous because it's all the billionaires' fault that this is happening. That people are not able to keep these jobs, to even stay in them, despite, again, hardships. And what if, as well, like, because what is so important here, the people who are verbally abusing others are people in these same situations, like unable to get a job, unable to enjoy work when they are working, not getting paid enough. These are the same people. So, yeah, like, I've had bad experiences. This is like, undeniable. But I don't blame the foreign people for this. I don't blame immigrants. I don't blame race for anything. I've got my own problems, that's for sure, and that's why I can't understand accents. Um, at the end of the day, it all ties back to billionaires and how they're trying to, again, like, force people out of the country or into slavery. This is all part of their grand plan, it's their scheme. And unfortunately, many British people have sucked up to this and they should become zombies. They've been eaten by the flesh-eating billionaire corpos, and they're regurgitating the same shit. They're trying to bite you as well, so that you turn to their side. It's literally an infectious disease at this point, and a new pandemic. It's a fucking mind-eating virus, and it's called the media. So that's where we're at the moment. And I think that's all I have to say. So thanks for listening, everyone, and hopefully it provides some insight. I don't know. I feel this is important to talk about because I'm not like entirely biased, obviously, towards either side. I just state facts, and I just really feel like I need to put my voice out there in terms of how I can look at bad experiences and still come out with truth and try to find reason in this complete chaos. Because it is chaotic times at the moment. Like, holy shit, I got finished watching a video from supposedly a Palestinian father who was like recording almost their own death with his family, 2 kids, a little boy and his older sister. The kid's older sister, I mean, obviously his daughter, the father's daughter. But they're in their apartment and just minding their own business, supposedly, and then gunfire from outside, and that scared the kids. The sister was braver than the boy, and they started to try and get into panic mode, not panic mode, but try to get to safety in a sense, like in their own house, like lay down and stay calm. And then the gunshots got close to their place. And luckily I don't think they were killed, but holy fuck. That's definitely shaken me up and left me feeling very emotional. But once again, this is one thing that you can literally trace back to obviously government misuse of funding and weaponry and like whatever. Because obviously that all goes back to Israel. And they're the ones fueling this genocide and making it happen. And that's why this video exists. It's a very haunting reality. And yet people somehow might even just try to blame it on them. On these fearing families. But how could you when there's a much bigger enemy? It doesn't make any fucking sense anymore.